You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Hello, Ruddlers and subscribers to the Ruddle Me This podcast. Just dropping in for a quick PSA. I'm going to be working a lot more on my Substack, blog, mailing list, whatever you want to call it, in 2025. I think we're all a bit weary and wary. You know, that's EA and WARY, both versions of weary, of the big social media companies at the moment, especially with what's going on with TikTok, the Facebook algorithm, all that kind of thing. And I was having a chat with a good friend of mine, Mark Churnside, today, and he mentioned something that kind of blew my mind. If you subscribe to someone on, say, YouTube or Facebook, and if you're someone who creates content on these platforms, you'll probably notice that your view numbers and you know whatever you call that, your results numbers, are nowhere near your actual subscriber count. And that's due to the algorithms. I don't really know how it works. I just know that they seem to throttle whether something reaches the viewers or not. Whereas something like a mailing list goes directly to you. As soon as Mark said that, a little white light bulb went off in my head, and I thought, that is actually a great point. So, I've reformatted my Substack page a little bit. The link to that is in the show notes for this. I'd love it for you to go along and subscribe. Initially, I was thinking I was going to be doing sort of stand-up comedy review posts plus a newsletter on that, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to combine that all together, and I'm just going to do one decent, like well-curated newsletter once a month, probably near the start of the month, maybe like in the first week sometime. And that's going to have sort of mini articles. It'll have stand-up comedy reviews. It's going to have a sample of some jokes I'm working on. It'll be perhaps things you missed from the podcast. I might, if I can make it work, embed some audio of maybe like a sort of, a minute from the 4 to 5 episodes of the podcast I released that month. I basically just want to make it like a central hub. You get it to your email page. You can read it if you want. You can delete it if you want. But if you do read it, it's going to have everything that I'm up to, and it's going to have some hopefully more stimulating things to read than just scrolling Facebook or Instagram or whatever mindlessly like we all do. I don't know about you, but I feel like as I get older, I find myself looking forward to things like newsletters a bit more. I'm actually sort of on purpose signing up to newsletters by creatives or other comedians or authors. Like I look forward to the Darren Shan newsletter each month. Dan Bain, a good friend of mine, I look forward to his newsletter each month. And I don't know whether that's an age thing or just a sort of being tired of social media thing. But yeah, so I'm still going to be posting stuff on all the other social networks. But if you want a really good, hopefully curated sort of read once a month, head along to my Substack. And the cool thing is I just found out, and I was thinking I was going to have to hack this together and do it some fancy way, but actually they gave you the option to record your own voiceover of the article, and I just tested it out in the app, and it's really smooth. It keeps playing when you close the app as well, so you can get along to it. It's almost like a secret episode of the podcast. You can listen to me reading out my own articles, and you can do that while you're doom scrolling on Facebook, I guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck the voiceover from the first episode after this. And if you liked that, I'm just going to post the first one. I'm not going to do it every month. So if you like this, go to the link for my Substack in the description of this episode and I hope to see you along on that journey. I'm really looking forward to it. I've always had this fantasy of being like a newspaper columnist, so in that way I get to pretend to be that. Alrighty, hope you enjoy it, and I'll talk to you again soon. Hello and welcome to the audio version of Taylor Roddle newsletter number 1, released January 2025. Happy New Year! I haven't done one of these for a while. I have some cool stuff to announce. You're receiving this email because at some point between 2018 and 2025, you came and saw a show produced by Can Do Comedy and opted into future marketing emails, or previously subscribed to my mailing list. If you no longer want to be on this list, there should be a big unsubscribe button in your email browser. Otherwise, just reply unsubscribe and hurl whatever abuse you like at me, and I'll take you off the list. I promise I won't be spamming your email with a bunch of shite. More often than not, I will probably forget to do an update, to be honest. Anyway, I've made some cool stuff, and I have some new stuff to announce for you. Free jokes, a handful of one-liners I'm working on at the moment. Number 1, I'm having some friends around to show them my new geese. It's a gander reveal party. Number 2, my local supermarket has a sign that says, place trolleys to the left to avoid congestion. I do it every time, but this bloody cold just won't clear up. Number 3, I'm a lot of fun at weddings. I come from a long, long line of conga dancers. Number 4, growing up, my dad always told me, son, you gotta take the big swings. I thought he was giving me philosophical life advice. Turns out he just meant on the playground. Number 5, my ex dumped me because I refused to stop sitting on her leg. She told me she just wasn't feeling it anymore. Comedy specials. I dropped 3 full-length comedy specials this year for free on YouTube. Well, technically 2.5 as one of them is a Frankenstein's Monster special with jokes from the other 2 specials. And I'd love it if you could share them around. Leave a like and a comment, and hopefully these will help me break through to the next level. At the time of this writing, I'm sitting just under 500 subscribers on YouTube, so if you'd be so kind as to hit subscribe, I might be able to hit that milestone soon. As I'm recording this several weeks after I wrote this article, I have actually hit that milestone. Thank you very much. So there's 3 links to my specials, Panic at the Buffet, Rodzilla, and Classy Comedy. You can click on those in the article. Podcast, Roddle Me This is still going strong. I've hopefully got a couple of bigger name guests interested in doing an episode in 2025. I actually wrote "and" there. So this is another benefit of listening to the audio version. You are going to see me realizing I have misspelled things in real time. You can listen to the back catalogue on your favourite podcatcher by visiting www.roddlemethis.com. A few episodes you might enjoy. We've got the State of the Ramble 2024, where I go over my year, evaluate it, decide what worked, what didn't, and what I'm going to do next year. We've got episode 97, Am I the Arsehole with Dave Adams. Very, very funny episode where we dive into the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and pass judgment on some people. And number 98, Emily from Core5 FanFest. Emily was, or is the graphics person and one of the organisers behind the anime convention Core5 FanFest. She's really lovely, and it was a great little chat. We have very similar life paths. Live appearances. The new year is back in full swing from next week, so if you'd like to catch me live, I'll be at Tuesdays at 6:30 p.m. at the Archer Brothers Christchurch in the Entex Centre. We've got G-Quiz that is free to play. We're giving out tons of prizes. Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m, Moi Moi on Wells Street, a G-Quiz quiz again, free to play, very generous prizes there. Thursdays at 7 p.m, except for the last of the month, although that might be changing, so check the Facebook page to confirm. It's at Austin Club on High Street. It is the Laugh Cellar comedy show, $10 entry on the door, cash or FPOS is available. And the first Friday of the month at 8 o'clock, we are at Winnebago's Rangiora for Beats by Bingo. That is also free to play as well, and there's some very, very generous prizes there. I'm hoping to establish some more weekly gigs going forward. Still hoping to find a venue keen to take a punt on a Monday quiz, so if you know anybody, then definitely let me know. I'm also working on getting Beats by Bingo into a few new venues this year, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Core5 FanFest, Henry Hickman and myself are going to be performing some nerdy stand-up comedy on the 18th of January 2025 at Core5 FanFest. At the time of this recording, that is 2 days ago. It'll be a short and potentially rough set. Brackets, little spoiler here from the future, it was not, it went really well. So I wouldn't go out of your way to get a ticket to come and see us. However, if you're going to be there at the fest anyway, then come by the main stage at around 11:30 and we'll be up towards 11:50, assuming everything goes to plan. At some point during the day, I'm also going to be participating in a sort of cosplay court of law where I'll be the lawyer for one of the contestants. I plan to bring all the knowledge I learned from watching Lionel Hutz on The Simpsons, and I'm confident we'll come away from it with a win, For more info and tickets from core5fanfest.co.nz. Once again, the time this audio transcript is going live, it's already happened. It was a lot of fun, and we will be back next year. So mark the sort of second weekend of January for next year on your calendar. The new tour, kind of a tour, if you consider two cities a tour, which I do. Frankly, I consider gigging outside of my postcode being on tour. David Correos and I are back on our bullshit in 2025 and doing a mini tour. This is basically the only South Island leg of his 2025 tour for the show called Noise Zealand, which is going to be a combo of DJ and rave music and comedy. Dave has told me some of the stuff he's trying to achieve in this show, and I think it's going to be a really good night out. I'll be up ahead doing 30 minutes of new material. This will be likely the stuff that turns into my next show. See below. Get your tickets. The two links are in the article. You can click on those. Whilst in Dunedin, I'll also be making an appearance on the 31st of January at a show run by my good buddy Gerard Doherty at the inimitable, I can never pronounce that word, inimitable, I gotta stop using it, Moons venue. The gig isn't live yet, but if you go and follow Dunedin Comedy on Facebook, you'll see it when it drops. So it is live now. I just wasn't when I made this. My next show. So hopefully dropping 3 specials in 1 year hasn't boxed me into a corner and set the expectation that I'll be dropping 3 every year from now on. I can assure you I won't be. The planets aligned for those 3 to be released in the same year. We'd already filmed Classy Comedy back in 2022, and Rodzilla was written back in 2019-ish, and I just had to do some warm-ups to relearn the jokes and then record it. However, I'm still incredibly proud of getting Panic at the Buffet released. When I look at it, I can see a massive jump in quality of both material and production value compared to the previous 2. I'm not quite sure what the content of my next show will be, and actually that's been a lot of my musings lately, is trying to figure out who I am up on stage. Up until now, my whole act has basically been me telling things that happened in a funny way, and I think in order to get to the next level, there needs to be more personal content in the show. The audience should know who I am as a person up there. So for this January run of shows, a lot of my material is based on opinions that I feel strongly about, which is a new experience for me. I'm trying to get the audience on side with something they don't necessarily agree with. I feel like a bit like I'm a painter trying his hand at sculpting, if that makes sense. Some of the ideas I've been tossing around are billionaires can't have real friends, why men, and then by extension myself, hate going to the doctor. Millennials and Gen Z need to get together about pulling what's left of the ladder up behind us. Everybody should be required to do an NFL-style athletic combine every 5 years-ish, so that we can easily distinguish the pecking order of life. I have no idea why I haven't lost my hair yet, when all signs point to living an unhealthy lifestyle. I've been chasing the high I felt kicking a door in 10 years ago ever since, and the only reason I don't smoke is because I've never smoked. I don't believe I have the willpower to quit. So these are some of the gags you can expect to hear expounded on at the Work in Progress shows with David Correos in January. Who knows what the final show will be about? Back when I was working on Panic, I thought it was going to be a happy-go-lucky show about how hilarious and weird ram raids are. There was a big chunk about the movie 300 in the previews, as well as the well-trodden territory of flying in a shitty airline. Thank you for reading, or listening in this case. Now, watch me forget about this until July sometime, when you can probably expect your next newsletter. Well, joke's on me, past Taylor. It's only 10 days until the next month, and I haven't forgotten yet. So thanks for listening. I hope this audio version was good for you to listen. I'm going to do this for each of them, and I think it'll be a cool way to integrate. So thank you for reading, listening, and I will see you next month. Cheers.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ARTS. Just go to Indeed.com/ARTS right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.